Happy Black Gold season. It is the season of the summer solstice. It is the season of the Ifa New Year. It is the time of putting on your crown. Today, we're going to be talking about this powerful, powerful time of the year and how you can use it for your highest shift. I know there's been a little bit of a lag in the last few episodes as I have had the opportunity to do some traveling and bring my gifts to other change makers doing amazing work all over the country. Shout out to my Black Space Cooperative family. Shout out to the New Seneca Village family. Shout out to Earthsea family. So that's what I've been up to as of late. And I'm going to be sharing later on in this episode kind of how the episodes are going to flow for the end of the year. But for now, let's get into where we are. Happy solstice. This is the season of illumination. We have moved out of the equilibrium phase of spring where the days and nights are at a place of balance. And now the sun has moved forward. The sun is at its peak. And so the days are now longer. That means we have more time in the light than we do in the darkness. And so this is the time to tap into that energy. June 21st, the longest day of the year. Spiritually, this time of illumination, when the light is at its peak, is an invitation to stop hiding, to cosmically step into this new portal. Every time we have these shifts of the equinox and the solstices, they are opportunities to reset, realign, and reimagine our life, to take stock of the North Star, of our goals, of our intentions, of where it is that we're going, the humans that we want to grow into, and ensure that our practices, our behavior, our environment are supportive of that. So unlike darkness, which we know has its own energetic of being still and moving slow and not being seen, the sun is about growth. Sun is an opportunity to literally go outside and be with nature. This is why we are called and pulled outside during the time of the summer season. So this time of illumination gives us the opportunity to say, what is being made visible in our life? Where do we want to see more light coming in? For those of you who are business owners or creatives, these are opportunities to really tap into your creativity, to tap into projects that you really want to see thrive and illuminate, even if those projects aren't shared with the world just yet. This is just a time energetically where you're going to get that boost from the universe. Also, I tend as an entrepreneur to align my launches, align my projects with the seasons of nature. So spring, summer, and fall become busier times for me than the winter. So again, your life is a canvas. And that canvas is an opportunity for you to paint or paint over or to remake or turn to a new chapter. So if you have a mindset of lack and of scarcity and of not enoughness and competition and othering, more of that will be illuminated because the universe just says yes to whatever it is that you're thinking. But if your mindset is aimed at your goals, giving yourself the disciplines that you know when you wake up in the morning, those spiritual practices in the morning and the evening anchors, thinking about abundance and joy and prosperity and orgasms and honey and sweetness and good relationships and good counsel, then more of that will be illuminated in your life. So take advantage of this beautiful, beautiful time of the solstice season. Get outside, align your goals, and align your life. Another powerful energetic that we have going on is the Ifa New Year. We know that all cultures have their own calendars. There is the Chinese calendar, Ethiopian calendar. There are many, many calendars. The Yoruba people, in their own tradition, which is known as the Isheshe tradition, they have their own calendar, and and that calendar is 10,068 years old. And that is documented, written proof that for the last 10,000 years, the priests of the community gather together. They consult the oracle, which is known as Odu, and that divine oracle gives us messages, wisdom, warnings, and basically a cheat code on how to make the most of your year. I know that I have many listeners who do not practice the tradition, which is absolutely fine. That is not a prerequisite for listening to this podcast. But I do believe that these messages have wisdom for us all. And so I want to share some of those wisdoms, and I want to put it in context of where we are on the planet right now. Pretty much every indigenous wisdom said that there would be a people that wasn't right, and they was going to come into their land and they was going to take it, and it was going to be hell. And then at some point they were going to fall. Many indigenous cultures have a version of the story. And I would posit that right now we are in the midst of the fall of the American empire. So when many of us are scrambling or even in a paralysis or in a fight or flight mode of what do we do next, what we need to do next is call upon those stories that understood that this would happen, that understood that nothing is wrong, that understood that death has to happen for life to come. But more importantly, death has to be visualized. One of the things that is so hard on our nervous systems is the fact that, and I've talked about this in past episodes, is not just the fact that the world is collapsing, is that we're visually watching the collapse on our devices every day. And that our nervous systems were just not built for that, right? They were not built to look at bombs being thrown, famine and people starving and people having brawls in the street. You know, you might come upon that in your day to day, but you wouldn't be inundated with that constantly. You know, you think about all of those different messages that your brain is processing after spending an hour on a device. And you can quickly see that our brains and our bodies were just not built for this type of information overload. And that's where we need to take digital fasts. We need to make sure that we're being mindful of our screen time. And there is a power in seeing the demon be slayed. I come from a generation where I remember when the Berlin Wall fell down, and I watched that. I watched the Berlin Wall fall. I watched people pulling it apart and saying, wow, my whole life, this wall has been up and now it's gone. It does something to people. It makes them feel empowered. It makes them understand that change is possible, and it propels them. So part of us seeing the collapse of the empire, we have to recognize is the medicine in order for us to build the new earth. If you didn't see it, if you didn't feel it and have that visceral memory in your body, you might not have the same wherewithal to affect the change in the future and to move forward with the new vision. So part of this collapse is what we need to see. And part of what these traditions do is they give us the anchors to understand it. So as I'm sharing these messages with you, I want you to understand them for yourself. Yes, this is what's going on for me, but also to look at how thematically this is going to support us in where the world is taking shape. So first, I want to shout out my own lineage. For those of you who don't know, I am a Ianifa. That means I have been initiated into the Oracle of Ifa. I'm also Omo Oya. I have been initiated into the priesthood of Oya. I received those initiations in Oshogbo under the direction of the Agbongbong Fakayore Fani and Iya Oya, Osundara Oyawale. My Oluo is Baba Ajisafe, and my Ile, which is the community that I'm part of, is called Ogbe Weyin. Okay, so when I'm talking, I'm not just talking. I'm talking from a lineage. I'm talking from my teachers. And I actually sat in a circle with my spiritual Ile. We received these messages from our Oluo. Oluo means teacher. And so I take it upon myself to do my best in interpreting them and broadening it, because I know that a lot of my listeners are not Ifa devotees, but I wanted you to know where this information generation came from and the lineage that I walk in. So there's 256 options of Odus that can fall. One of those 256 is Osameji, and basically there's 16 major Odus, and then all of the other ones are combinations of each other. So of all of the different combinations, Osa twice, Osameji came up, and it came under the blessing of Ire Aje, Ire Aje. Ire mean blessing, Aje mean wealth. So after you get the Odu, and then you get how it fell, you have different energetics, different orisa, or spirits. These spirits represent forces of nature and forces. So we believe that there are over 400 forces that walk with us. We do not believe that humans are the only energetic force that lives on the planet. And we also don't believe that it's just humans and God. Our God, we call Olodumare, we believe is a genderless, all-seeing, all-knowing God that kind of doesn't even really take its time dwelling on what the people down on the planet. Its business is like the unknown consciousness of all of the all of the all of the all. And so as we're moving towards our destiny, as we're moving towards our purpose, we are in co-creation with all of these other energetic forces that walk on the planet. And part of the messages of this new year are, one of the main ones that came through is called the Iyami. The Iyami, Iya, as we know, means mother in Yoruba. So these are the primordial mothers. These are the ancient mothers. These are the mothers of the night. If you have a womb in your belly, the womb is a dark place. The womb of the earth is dark. The bottom of the ocean is dark. We know that this idea of darkness, not as negativity, but just the unknownness of darkness. And we know that women are, you kind of don't know. Women are mysterious. These primordial ancient mothers, these mothers of the night, these mothers are the arbiters of justice. These are the women that maintain ma'at. They maintain balance. When Western forces came to conquer the Yoruba, they labeled them as witches. So sometimes you will hear them say the witches, but that is not a name that is part of our language. That was brought in by Europeans. And when we know what they did with their women, they burned them. That was one of the first genocides because of their fear of the power of women. The Iyami being the primordial force, the arbiters of justice, the rulers of the night, the ones who sanction sacrifice, who sanction your ability to move forward. What Ifa is telling us this year is you will not move forward if you do not respect women. You will not move forward if you do not respect the feminine force. When I did start practicing Ifa, I had a lot of spiritual work to do with the Iyami. When I would go to divination, it was like, you need to appease the mothers. The mothers are not happy with you. They are not happy with your behavior because I was out of order, just not good things, when you think about a path of righteousness. And so I was not exempt. We all know if you walk into a room and it's a bunch of older women, they're like the first people that you go to. You got to go and greet them first. We know that if you walk into a house with elder women and she don't like you, you're going to have a difficult time because it's her sanctioning your presence and your behavior, which blessings will be bestowed upon you. So if you're out of order with elder women in your life, if you're out of order with the feminine principle in your own physical body, you are going to have some trouble this year. One of my sisters in the Ile talked about when you're around a woman who is premenstrual or menstruating or in a menopause phase or a perimenopause phase, you're always gentle with her. You're like, oh, you're on your period. Let me give you some space. How can I support you? How can I nurture you? You understand that there's a sensitivity, but also a volatility that those women can go off on you. They can cause you harm. I would argue that a lot of the challenges that we're seeing on the planet right now is because the way that we have historically abused women, abused the primordial force of the divine feminine. And you can see that in direct relationship to the way that we treat the earth, because that is female. Earth Mother Onile is also part of this pantheon of divine mothers. So you can't treat the earth poorly, treat women poorly, treat elder women poorly, treat little girls poorly, and then think you're going to have a good life. It doesn't work that way. It's never going to happen. And this is also important because, the last 3 readings of the year, I'd have to go back and look. This message has been consistent. Ifa has consistently told us every year, till you get it, you have to respect women. One of the other forces that came through is Sango. Sango was a ruler. Sango was the ruler of the Yoruba Empire. Sango represents the head. Now, what are the traits of a ruler? When we think about our life, when we think about this year, when we think about how to elevate ourselves this year, what Ifa is telling us is we have to be the rulers of our own lives. I'm gonna not even say that. We are the rulers of our own life. A king, a ruler, has responsibility. So Ifa is telling us this year that we must be responsible for those under our jurisdiction, for those under our household, those who are living in your physical household, those who are in your community. Now, that doesn't mean you're responsible for their decisions. That doesn't mean that you can change what they do and change their behavior, but there is a sense of community responsibility. That is also part of the message of Ifa, being the ruler of your household, holding those accountable, and also making sure that there are repercussions. And that repercussion might be there's a boundary. That repercussion might be this person is no longer allowed in my life. That repercussion might be we need to have a courageous conversation. But the king is not avoiding that. The king understands its role. Also, the king is strategic. You're looking at the strengths of your community, the strengths of your household, and you're creating a strategy in how you are going to navigate. That navigation, one, is the self-preservation of protecting yourself and your community. We can't dismantle the master's house using the master's tools. And so part of that strategy may mean you need to use some new moves, right? You might have to go back and have a new Tai Chi, a new Kung Fu move. You might have a new weapon. You might have a new form of protection. You might need to go train. The battle is not just the battles outside. I'm not talking about governments. I'm talking about the battle within your own life, the war that's being waged against you to continue to move forward in the fulfillment of your purpose, despite the obstacles that are being placed upon you. A king also has a court. A court is a group of people who it can go to for counsel. The king does not rely on itself. It has a trusted group of people. But again, the king is not going to talk to the commoner. No offense. Some of us are going to ask for advice where you're the smartest person in the room. No, the king has got its generals who know more about the terrain of the enemy or the work on the battlefield or the morale of the soldiers at that moment. So when the king is putting the strategy together, the king has to communicate with all of its different advisors, but those advisors hold a level of expertise to even be allowed in the court. You got to be at certain levels. And this is why this idea that everybody gets a say is bullshit. Everybody doesn't get an opinion. Everybody doesn't get to chime in and say what they think. What qualifies them to make that decision? Have they had to make that decision in their own life? Look at the receipts of them. Are they the type of people who are living, not the potential for, not trying to work to be? Are they currently 10 toes down in that level of their own alignment where they can give you some advice? Have they built a business if they're giving you business advice? Have they navigated conflict successfully if they're telling you how to navigate conflict? Do they have a good relationship with their partner if they're giving you relationship advice, right? What are the receipts? So Ifa is telling us this year, build your counsel. Intentionally build your counsel. Seek advice from those who are qualified and have the expertise to give you the advice, who have the expertise to come together and build a strategy in order for you to defeat the demons, one in your own mind, so that you can navigate and ascend into the next phase of your elevation. It's also important to note that Sango is a warrior. So what Ifa is also telling us is, yes, we are on the battlefield. Let's be clear. It's not that the war is coming or the war is almost come no, the war is here and we are on the battlefield. But the battlefield does not look like what we thought it was going to look like. The battlefield is you getting up every day and just doing what the hell you're supposed to do. That's the hardest part. Getting out of bed, maintaining your own mental frequency, not allowing any of the distractions that are the enemies coming to fight you, coming to move you off of your path. When you are on the battlefield, even if it's your own internal battle, you are fortified. You are protected. You don't walk on the battlefield wearing your summer dress and your cute shoes. You have certain amulets. I'm wearing my copper. I'm wearing my brass. I'm wearing my elekes. There's ways that I spiritually pray over myself. There's protections I do. I take spiritual baths. The spiritual hygiene of how I sage or copal or palo santo my house, how I'm moving certain energies out, calling certain energies in. This is what I mean by being strategic. You're not just walking out onto the world thinking that everyone's going to be nice to you because you're a good person. Walking out into the world unprotected, being a good person will allow you to be someone else's prey. It's as simple as that. And that's not to scare you. That's to empower you. Another orisa that came through to support us this year is the power of Oya, which represents transformation. Oya is the queen of the marketplace. As a matter of fact, when we honor Sango, we honor Oya together. They were married. Oya bringing the thunder, him bringing the lightning. So when we see a storm happening in the sky, that is Oya and Sango making love. Oya's literal name means to rip or to tear. She is the grand transformer. She is the hurricane. She is the thunderstorm. She is the tornado. She works with Shango through her thunder and the lightning that she gave him. It's worth noting that all of the things that we just said about Sango, when Sango went to battle, Oya went ahead of him. Okay, so again, what is the message that we're getting about the power of the divine feminine, the power of the women? That he went behind her. They referred to him as the husband of Oya. Sango took on Oya's hairstyle. He took on Oya's clothing. He was so in love and enamored by her that he took on her whole style and her whole vibe. He was just like in it. And that is how he ruled. So what is Ifa telling us this year? Ifa is telling us that shit is about to get shook up and we're already seeing it. We are in a state of transformation. We are in a state of major change. So we should not be surprised by that. Again, this is the gift is we can then design for it. That we are going to continue to go through transformation. We are going to continue to see old systems die, new systems, because the clearing has to happen. Oya is also associated with death. She is the death doula that midwives you from the realm of the living, and she opens the door into the realm of the ancestors. So she has a very intimate relationship with death. And what are we seeing but the death of what we have known? But not only the death of systems, but the death of ideas, the death of mindsets, the death of constructs that we have held on to. Many of us have prayed and said, we want the change, we want change, we shout change, we want transformation. And then when change comes, we don't want it. We want everything outside of us to change, but we don't want to change. Also, Oya represents business. She is is the queen of the marketplace. So this is a wonderful year, as many of us are having organizational pivots, career pivots. We're looking at side hustles. We're looking at side hustles. We're re-examining our living situation. We're re-examining who we're in community with. We're re-examining how we're even designing our life and how money is coming in. This is all Oya energy. One of the things is being a daughter of Oya, I've had to get comfortable with change. So that means we're fluid. We're fluid. That's why I call myself a shapeshifter. Oya is the original shapeshifter. She is not attached. She transformed into a buffalo. She transformed into a woman when she was a wife, when she had to be a warrior, when she's a businesswoman. These are all new forms that Oya can seamlessly move through because she is in this state of fluidity. That is what we're being called to do this year, to not be restricted. The fact that Oya and Sango both are key Orisa this year is the reminder, who are both warriors, is telling us that this is big energy. It's big battle, transformation, death, rebirth energy. Oya also, as I said, has this intimate relationship with death, and that means that she also has an intimate relationship to her ancestors. So this would also be a time, as you're building your court, you're also thinking about the role of your ancestors. All of these messages are opportunities for us to get into the practice. This becomes our workout, so that this becomes our energetic field, and this becomes our frequency, and this becomes the momentum that we're creating in the world, so that when challenges arise, because they will, we're able to be buoyed, we're able to be strong, we're able to be fluid, we're able to shape shift through them, because we're not starting from zero, because we're not just on the battlefield in our church shoes. We're on the battlefield, powered up, prayed up, fortified, and protected. So another in Orisa that is important and potent this year is Egbe, our spiritual cosmic twins, our cosmic family. So all of us know that we have our blood family, our blood relatives, and in Isheshe, we believe that we also have an equivalent family in the cosmos, that actually we come from heaven and we come down to earth to fulfill our purpose. And the more work we do to align with that family in heaven, it allows us to meet our heavenly family on earth. So many of us have quote unquote friends that it's like, you know what? This is like my spiritual family. Like me and this person, we are like tapped in. It doesn't matter how long we've known each other. It doesn't matter how often we see each other. You just have this super cosmic connection with them, and it feels like family. Oftentimes they will even say you may feel isolated in your blood family, because you have this spiritual family that you long for. Many of us in our families are like, how did I even get up in this family? I don't even I feel like an outcast, or I feel like an anomaly in this family. And you might have other people who aren't your blood and you feel closer to them. That is an example of your Egbe. Egbe are very playful. Our Egbe are connected to having fun, partying, being outside, joyful. When you think about when you're coming together with people that you love, when you come together with Egbe, your chosen family, it's a celebration. You're playing music, you're eating good food, maybe you're dancing, you're at beautiful places. That's the energy of Egbe. Egbe is also associated with children. So we can connect with our Egbe, connecting with children as well, and young people, because they bring that same energy. Our Egbe are like our generals, because they are our spiritual family. I had a sister say, you know, your Egbe is even closer than your shadow, because your Egbe is you. These are the forces that you are deploying every day to say, hey, you know, you're your Oba, you're the ruler of your own household, of your own kingdom. You have your council, your Egbe are part of your council. You gather them up in the morning and you tell them, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're working on. This is what we're working towards. This is what we're overcoming. This is what we're challenged with. You're not just sitting here doing stuff by yourself, thinking that, again, you being on the battlefield with your church shoes is going to get you somewhere. All of these forces are critical in order for us to move forward this year. And that's how Ifa works. You're either moving forward or you're not moving. So it doesn't mean you're moving back, doesn't mean you're going backwards. It just means you're not going forward. You're just standing there. Some people are literally just standing. They are so caught up in the news cycle. They're so caught up in the doom and gloom. They have been frozen in fight or flight. They're in paralysis and they stay right there because that's what they believe in their mind and that's what's being illuminated. But Ifa is instructing us that when we are able to first in our mind make up and decide who we are, where we want to go, and bring in and catalyze all of these forces for ourselves, then we have the ability to move forward. And in battle, even if it's the battle of your mind, we have to move forward. So that brings us to another energy. And this energy is always relevant, not just this year, and it's your Ori. You hear me talk about Ori all the time. Your Ori is your crown chakra. Your Ori is your first god. It is the first initiation that you've ever gone through in life because that represents your own level of discernment. The way the Ori was once described to me is you could have everything at your feet. You could have the best partner coming into your life. You could have promises and blessings of wealth and abundance. You could have a job that's forming, that is being created just for you. And if your Ori doesn't believe it's possible, it's like those blessings will rain and your Ori is an umbrella and it's blocking those blessings. And none of the blessings that are meant for you are actually going to fall and hit you. You're not going to receive them. None of this is possible without the sanctioning of your mind. You cannot do anything in life if you first don't make sure that you are believing it. You have to speak over yourself. You have to program yourself, even if it's not true. Hey, my bank account isn't what I want it to look like, but I'm going to tell myself I have absolutely everything I need. Money is flowing to me freely and abundantly from multiple channels. I walk outside and I stumble into money. I stumble into opportunity. The universe is conspiring for my own good. Simple affirmations before you go into certain situations that you know are going to be difficult. You got to talk your mind into it. Before, sometimes I have to talk to certain clients and I have to say how much my price is. I have to talk myself into it. To think that you're just going to, not be afraid. No, we're terrified sometimes. We're afraid. We don't feel like we're enough. We're human. All of those emotions are okay for a moment. The challenge is when we allow those emotions to overtake and overcome and become the ruler. Our minds are being ruled by the idea that, the whole world is fucked up and the president and everything's messed up and life is messed up and, organizations aren't going to get any more money. And if you get caught up in that spiral, then, more power to you. It's the summer solstice, more will be illuminated. But the power of your mind is the most powerful thing possible. Today, as I'm recording this in Mexico City, Mexico has just won 3 World Cup games in a row, which it's never done before. And I believe a big reason for that is because the games have been played in Mexico. This is a country that has a tremendous love for its country. It is extremely patriotic. It has extreme love for people and it loves soccer. And so the amount of people, literally last night watching the game on the street, not in houses, 800,000 people were watching on the street. There are probably another, tens and tens and tens of thousands in the stadium, not to mention all of the Mexican people all over the world who have a mindset of winning. They set their mind on our team is going to win. It doesn't matter if they're not the best team. The mind is powerful. These people believe this. They have made a decision and they have willed their team to victory. Now, it doesn't mean that the team didn't have to be prepared. The team still had to practice. This team still had to show up. They had to sweat. They had to sacrifice. They had to give up time with their loved ones to go and to be, professional soccer players. You still got to do the work in the physical realm. Everything that I'm saying, you still got to put your toes down on the earth and put that work in. But as above, so below. There's energies that are happening in the metaphysical realm as well as in the physical realm. And the cheat code is when you combine those things and you're able to alchemize them to work together. So you don't have to be the best. You don't have to know the outcome. It doesn't matter how much money is in your bank account. It doesn't matter if you knew the right people. It doesn't matter if you went to school for it. None of that matters. Make up your mind through your Ori, and all will be added to your portion. That is what we believe, and that is actually what the universe says. Now, if we take this out of the spiritual realm and we want to use metaphysics, we know that these are all sciences, that these sciences are true, that the power of prayer, the power of speaking in affirmation. You can look at the experiment where they wrote words around glasses of water, and the crystallization of the water actually took the form of the word. So when they put love on the water, it made these beautiful crystals. And when they put death on the water, the frequency of the water literally was lower. This is not rocket science. This is basic science that every indigenous culture already knew and practiced. And this is the reason why this 2026 timeline tries to rob you from your indigeneity and your indigenous wisdom. And from the moment you wake up, it's programming you to think there's not enough. The water's going away. The data centers are taking everything. You can't do anything about genocide. Your vote doesn't work. Our president or whoever, it's not my president, but the president of America in the White House is the grand ruler. They have the grand say. All jobs are going away. Everything's going to be taken away by AI. You have no power. You might as well just, open up your brain, get the Neuralink in, because this is the future society. They have to program you to believe that, because as soon as you accept that, guess what? The universe says, okay, then that's the direction we're going towards. Many people look at that and think that's a reality, when in reality, that's their prayer for the future. That's the future they're trying to create. And they need your buy-in. They need your acceptance of it in order to manifest it, because they can't do it without you, because your energetic body is currency and it's worth something and it's valuable. And when you decide to give your energy to something, the universe is going to say yes. Because we're in this season of illumination, whatever it is that you are illuminating, whether it's negative or positive, you're only going to get more of it. So we have to step into our own level of discernment and reclaim our minds. I reject that narrative. I can create my own algorithm. I can create my own magic in order to make miracles. And I have proof of that because I am a miracle. I am a miracle in my bloodline. I am a cycle breaker in my family. I am the example. And so are you. So you don't need their data. Your life is the data point. Your life is the example. And the more you believe in it, all will be possible. So now I'm going to bring it all the way back full circle. This year's reading coming in Ide Aj, blessings of wealth. Now, wealth is not just financial money. You have to define what wealth means for you. Do you want to work 80 hours a week? If you could work 80 hours a week and be a millionaire, would that represent wealth for you? So wealth is not always about money in and of itself. Wealth is about choices. Wealth is, I have the choice to work 5 hours a week this week. Wealth is the choice that I can eat the highest vibrational food that I want. Wealth is, I don't have to work today. Wealth is having the navigational ability to go to another country. It doesn't necessarily mean that when you get there, you're not staying with your friend. It doesn't necessarily mean that going to get something that is high vibrational for your body means you spend a lot of money on it. You might have bartered. Somebody might have gave it to you. You might get the things that you want and have a wealthy life, and it might not have anything to do specifically with money. Wealth is being healthy. So the first thing is you have to redefine wealth, again, because many of us, when we think of wealth, we've constructed wealth through the 2026 timeline of Abrahamic traditions of accumulation. We have trillionaires on the planet now. These are wealthy people, but do we want to be like them? Do we think that they've got the cheat code to life? Absolutely not. Elon Musk, spare me. So for Ifa to tell us that this is a year of Ide Aj, that this is a year of wealth, Ifa is saying that if we take heed, honoring our Ori, our first mind, making the decision, if we have the humility to bow and kneel and pay homage to the primordial forces, the arbiters of justice, the ancient mothers, and to understand that through respecting them and through respecting the planet, Ifa is telling us this year to be the king of your own life, to be the king of your own counsel, to be strategic, to seek counsel and advice through those who have been anointed and appointed and have the expertise, to call in the power of Oya, to align with the changes of the universe, to be agile, to be fluid, to be shapeshifters in our own way, to honor our ancestors, to be able to think creatively about business and our business endeavors, to call in the spiritual forces of our Egbe so we can meet more like-minded people. You move towards wealth through relationship. Wealth is not accumulated alone. Wealth is accumulated through relationship. You have to be in a relationship with some party that is going to give you something, trade you something. So being in right relationship with like-minded people, but that comes through hard work. That comes through diligence. That comes through persistence. That comes through discipline. The messages of Ifa are telling us, yes, we are in a battle, and that battle is in our own minds. But that if we take heed, our victory is guaranteed. So this is a powerful year, y'all. And there's so many more messages. I'm just giving you like a bit, but I really wanted to pull through some that I thought would be powerful, that anybody can take heed and take what resonates and leave the rest for them, no matter if you are a devotee of Ifa or not. There are other North Stars that are going to get you to your purpose. Many of us want our loved ones, our family, to be part of this kingdom. And I'm here to tell you that they're on their own soul's journey. And some of them are going to get it in this lifetime, and some of them aren't. And it is okay. And it is not for us to judge them. It is not for us to yank them through and try to think that we can save them, because you got to put the mask on yourself first. Self-preservation, the number one key. And the best thing that you can do for them is to do you, because the more that you heal by example, you will be the beacon. You will be the light. You will be the one that everyone is like, what are they doing over there? Because every time I see them, they're healthy, they're shiny, they're showing up strong, they're showing up aligned, they have a full cup to give. What are they doing? They're going to be asking you for the cheat code, not because you try to preach, convince, or vote or protest them into believing how you believe, because you just showed up as your highest self. Show up. Show up. You decided to show up in this lifetime. You decided to be the cycle breaker in your family. You decided to be the one that was going to be the death doula to move us from the old world into the new. And here we are. It's the greatest time to be alive. We have the sun on our side. We are illuminated. We are shining. We are bright. Go outside and get your light. All right. I know this has been a little bit of a longer episode today. I have some announcements on what the new flow of things is going to be looking like around here. So the first announcement is that we are officially sold out for the fall equinox retreat here in Mexico. Shout out to the 11 brave souls who are all going to be traveling to Mexico for the fall equinox. So here we are in summer solstice season. When we move into harvest, we are going to be gathering around in Sacred Circle. I'm so excited. This is the earliest that I've ever sold out my fall equinox retreat. This will be my 6th one in Mexico. So I'm really, really excited and I'm really grateful. Also, we have a church. We have a church, y'all. What does that mean? It means just that. It means that Shapeshift Society is an official church. We have a church designation. We are a community of intention dedicated to healing, land stewardship, and collective care. This is me being on my path of leadership and stewardship and spiritual teaching and healing as a practitioner. And this is what I've been called to do. So here we are. I took the plunge. I did it. We got all the paperwork set up and we are here. So, I mean, it doesn't change that much more in terms of the way that you're able to interact with us, but it does change more about our intentionality about how we show up in the work that we are doing, and that I get to steward a ministry, that this work is not a 9 to 5 for me. It is not a side hustle. It is literally the fulfillment of my destiny. And I'm grateful that you took the time to listen and to be here. So if you want to learn more about Shapeshift Society and the way that you can tap in, you can go to my website, shapeshiftyourlife.com, and click the link for Shapeshift Society. I'll also put the link at the bottom of the description for this podcast. It's a lot of different ways to tap in, everything from co-living to virtual ways. So it's something for everybody, and you can check out the website for more. So I have decided that I am moving into seasonal rest. So this will be the last podcast for this season, and we will resume in September with a lot of juicy things happening. September is the retreat for those coming to Mexico. September is also when we're going to be relaunching a living room conversation series that I've been hosting in my home in Mexico City. September will also be new announcements with the church and different ways to get involved. And September will also be the fall equinox, where we'll be taking the work that we did over the last 3 months of illumination. The fall is also connected with the season of our ancestors. So that is a really, really powerful time of ancestor veneration. That's where they got Halloween from, FYI. So that's it. And I would invite you to take this time of seasonal rest as well. It doesn't mean you're not illuminating out in the world. Maybe it's a digital detox. Maybe it's a physical alignment. Maybe it's more time in nature, but we're human. You know, I'm not a robot, so I don't need to produce every month. And so I'm not producing this summer. Keep shifting and keep illuminating, and I'll see you in September. Much love.